Department saying they will do all they can to help Americans get out. Here with us now is Jamil Jaffer, Executive Director of the National Security Institute at George Mason University. Thanks so much for being here. I mean, this is as dramatic as it gets. Iran's foreign minister meeting with European diplomats in Geneva, but there's no obvious breakthrough coming out of those meetings. Everyone was hopeful, but we don't have anything. So is there still a chance for diplomacy? How do you read what's going on right now?
Well, Laura, obviously President Trump is looking to try and get this resolved by a diplomatic solution. He's never wanted this war to start. He didn't want Israel to go after Iran in the first instance. He tried to convince them not to do it. He pursued every path he could. Now being here, he's considering whether he should jump on the bandwagon and try to get a U.S. strike in, which actually is the right answer going forward writ large. We have to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The problem is President Trump, I think, is caught between his base that doesn't want to see a war here and the opportunity to get himself some credibility by jumping on Israel's success in this conflict.
You know, we're keeping an eye on his schedule right now. President Trump is set to hold another national security meeting later today. We understand he's leaving New Jersey about 4:30. This meeting's supposed to happen around 6 Eastern. And Trump says he's weighing entering the war with this decision expected within, an important word, the next 2 weeks. So a lot of people are weighing in and taking a look at the ramifications if the U.S. does enter this war with a direct attack. How do you see that?
Well, you know, what's interesting about the president's position is that he came back early for the G7 summit, ostensibly to make a decision, got here, didn't make a decision, now is putting it off for 2 weeks, continues to have these meetings, but isn't actually deciding. In a lot of ways, this seems like President Obama's indecision after the Syria red line, his unwillingness to make a call and ultimately backing off in favor of a deal with the Russians that would ultimately redound to the detriment of the Syrian people and allowed chemical weapons to flourish. Hopefully, President Trump makes a strong decision going forward and actually decides to go after these nuclear sites. At the end of the day, the Iranians are not going to give up this program willy-nilly, and it's going to take real pressure by the United States. If we can get the diplomatic solution, great. It seems highly unlikely, and what's probably needed here is a U.S. military strike.
And we're just getting word, too, that the Houthis say that they will target U.S. warships in the region if the U.S. does get involved. I mean, they're laying it out there.
Well, look, there's no doubt that Iran has always operated through its proxies. It's long used the Houthi rebels in Yemen to attack Western and U.S. shipping. They've used Hamas to attack Israel, Hezbollah to go after Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan and elsewhere. And we know that they have operatives in the United States. So if we do conduct this attack, we have to be prepared for the very real possibility of terrorist attacks against American forces in the region and American civilians and Europeans in Europe and the United States. That is a very real prospect that may take place, but we can't allow ourselves to be cowed by Iran's use of terror as a threat. At the end of the day, a nation that supports terrorists the way Iran does shouldn't have access to a nuclear weapon. We should never have allowed them to have domestic enrichment like President Obama did. And at this point, the right answer is we have a clear path to get those nuclear facilities. We should do everything we can to take them out. It will be difficult. We may not be fully successful, but if we can send them back a few years, that's a win for the United States and our allies.
Yeah, and Jamil, we're always talking about moving parts and how this is fast moving many times. We got to remember in May, the Houthis and the U.S. agreed to not attack each other. They made that agreement, the Houthis and the U.S., in May. And here we are in June, and things are changing. And again, it doesn't sound good.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, the idea that you can make a deal with a terrorist group supported by the Iranian regime is unlikely. And I think it was probably a bad idea to get in that deal with the Houthis in the first place. What we should have done was use the full use of American military might to take them out completely, a step that the Biden administration was never willing to take, a step the Trump administration has not been willing to take. I think for the same reasons. There's this deep concern about getting embroiled in a larger conflict. But at the end of the day, if you allow your adversaries to take pot shots at you, the way we have with the Houthis, and we've allowed Iran to do this over many years, eventually you have to go directly at them. Both the Trump, the Biden, and the Obama administrations have been unwilling to take real effective action against our adversaries. We need to do that now, sooner rather than later.
Listen, and we know that Israel is at risk right now while that country is waiting for Trump's decision on this. Let's talk about the risk and the ongoing risk and how big it's going to be in these coming days waiting for that 2-week mark.
Well, Laura, one of the challenges is that Israel only has so many interceptors that can defend against these missiles and these drone strikes. The U.S. needs to provide our support, both in terms of additional Patriot missiles. We've got THAAD, the theater area high altitude defense system out there as well. We also need to provide them support on the Arrow 2 and the David Sling systems. But at the end of the day, Iran has the ability to overwhelm those systems with a large amount of attacks. So there are going to be some casualties. There are going to be some buildings that are destroyed. And that's part of why, if we're going to make this decision to go forward and conduct a full-on strike against the Iranian systems, waiting 2 weeks is exactly the wrong call. It's completely indecisive. We need to make a clear decision and move out, or say we're not going to do it and let the Israelis decide what they're going to do. But this sort of back and forth hand wringing is exactly the wrong place for the United States and our government to be.
Yeah, and let's talk about the relationship between Israel and the U.S. because, it seems as though you're right. Like we're watching it change, it morphs. Where are we right now? If you could go deeper into our relationship, where we are right now today going into this conflict.
Well, look, obviously, right now, we're very supportive of the Israelis. We're moving additional forces into the region. We've been providing them with support, both intelligence and otherwise. But it's also clear that part of the reason why we're here, part of the reason that the Israelis decided to take a strike on their own is that we didn't agree to give them capabilities or use our own capabilities to go after the Iranian nuclear program. And we also were starting to negotiate a deal that looked like we might get back into another JCPOA, Obama-like Iran nuclear deal where we allow them to have domestic enrichment. That's a non-starter for the Israelis. They clearly felt like they had to go it on their own. They told the president they were going to do it. He ultimately gave them sort of an unclear, you can go ahead if you want to, but I don't really want you to do it type approach. And that's where we stand today. And so the relationship, I think, is solid in the sense that we're providing them support, but it's also problematic because we haven't given them a full-throated set of support that would have allowed us to go in alongside them and really take out this program. So, it's a mixed bag, I think, right now, Laura.
And as we take a look at Israel and Iran going back and forth with these strikes, we keep showing images of the people trying to get out of harm's way. And I was asking one of our other guests, and I know you know the region so well, about just where people can go to be safe. And we've got this huge effort trying to get Americans out of harm's way as well. So, we're watching the evacuation, and it looks very challenging.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. There are a lot of Americans that have relations with Iran. I grew up in LA in a largely Iranian Jewish neighborhood in
Okay.
LA. And you can see where a lot of people go home, they go to Iran, they go to Tehran to visit their families. If they're stuck there, we need to make sure we get those people out. We failed to get our people out of Afghanistan.